Hello and welcome to my review of the Imperial Knights Knight Preceptor Canis Rex. One of these models will set you back a whopping £95, making it the second most expensive model Games Workshop produce. The most expensive is either Archaon or a Knight Castellan. Both of those are £100. Of course, for Forge World, I'd say the average model is almost £100 now. I've been meaning to do this review for such a long time, literally over a year and a half. I just haven't found the time. I've covered all the new releases I possibly could, and they always take precedence. This kind of was put on the back burner along with all the Adeptus Titanicus models, which I've now built and created, and I absolutely love them. Look at this little knight. Look, it's so cute. It's brilliant. I love them, I really do. So stay tuned to the channel because you will see some reviews of the Adeptus Titanicus kit and the new kits as well when they bring them out. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for your patience. It is greatly appreciated. Sorry that you've had to wait such a long time for this review. The Venatari are built as well. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see pictures of those. So I will be releasing a review of them very soon, along with all of my other Custodian Guard force, because they all have 40k rules. And I'll go through their 30k or Horus Heresy and 40k rules for all the models that I own. I'm still on the fence whether to get an Ares gunship, because they're the same price as the Orion, and I just think that the Orion does so much more. Anyway, put it in the comments below if you think I should pick up an Ares. This Knight Preceptor Canis Rex, don't let the box, you know, the front of the box fool you. It's not just one knight. This has been such an amazing journey for Games Workshop and Imperial Knights, giant robots, I suppose. It is a knightly suit, a bit like a Titan, where you get a knight pilot, and he or she sits in there in the cockpit and controls the knight. They're not really Titans, but they are Titanic. They're definitely much bigger than dreadnoughts and your usual infantry troops. They're great at other enemies of equal size. They're good against tanks, and en masse they can even bring some smaller Titans down as well. So going back to the box, you get Canis Rex in there and Sir Hector on foot, this little dude here, which is the first time that they kind of brought out a Knight pilot in plastic. Forge World do a resin Cerastus Knight Lancer pilot, which I do have somewhere. He's hiding about though. I couldn't find him for this review, unfortunately. But this box, you've got the Canis Rex. However, you can make so many more knights in this box. Not only can you make Canis Rex, you can make a Knight Preceptor. Even though they've got the image of Canis Rex there, they haven't got the image of a normal Preceptor. Basically, Preceptor could be the knight that, sorry, it's just there. Basically, a Preceptor can be a knight that leads the rest of your house. Where it differs is you can have a Reaper Chainsword instead of that Thunderstrike Gauntlet, or for Canis Rex it's called Freedom's Hand. Then you can build a Knight Crusader, which is the one with the rapid fire battle cannon and Avenger Gatling Cannon. Then you can build a Knight Warden, again with a Avenger Gatling Cannon and a Thunderstrike Gauntlet. The Errant with a Thermal Cannon and a Reaper Chainsword, and the vanilla Knight Paladin with, again, the rapid fire battle cannon and the Reaper Chainsword. There is one knight on there that they haven't placed, which is the Knight Gallant. This one has a Reaper Chainsword and a Thunderstrike Gauntlet. I guess they couldn't fit it on there, but technically you can build 7 knights out of this one kit. When knights were first released, there used to only be one kit which had the Knight Paladin, and you could also make the Errant in there. Then later on down the line, I think within a year, they released another separate kit. So there were 2 kits out, the Paladin and the Warden. So the Warden was the second kit, and that kit introduced the Thunderstrike Gauntlet, the Avenger Gatling Cannon, and a load of carapace mounted weapons such as the Storm Spear missile pod, the twin Icarus autocannon for all of your anti-air needs, and also the Iron Storm missile pod, which I don't have here right now. So that was a great upgrade. I did question it sort of a year after the Paladin came out, but Imperial Knights were so popular. I think they were more popular than Games Workshop had envisaged, and it is understandable that they wanted to bank on that and bring out a Knight Warden. Then what they did in September 2018 is they brought out this new kit, the Knight Preceptor Canis Rex, which included enough parts to make one of the 7 different variants, including this Canis Rex, this character for the Imperial Knights, which added yet another sprue of new parts, including the new big ranged weapon, the las-impulsor, a point defense weapon, the multi-laser, and a plethora of other new parts, such as character-specific iconography and a different banner and a different faceplate and iron shield, along with a fully detailed cockpit and individual miniature of Sir Hector too. So big upgrade, and the price, they could have charged £120 or so because it's got an extra sprue. No, they didn't. They charged the same as the Knight Warden was, the £95, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. And the fact that you just need to buy one kit this night for the £95 to build all of the different versions is just amazing. Now, it does include all the parts so that you can build the carapace weapons. It does include the parts for the Reaper Chainsword. With a bit of magnetisation and things, you're going to be able to swap some of the weapons out. Quite possibly you can swap the las-impulsor. You only get 2 arms per se, so if you're going to do some magnetisation and things, they're going to have to be at the weapon mounts themselves. But there are opportunities for you to do such a thing. By the way, if you think that the Knight looks a bit weird, it's because I've left off most of the armour plates, because I like to spray the model with lead belcher, give it a good shade of Null Oil, and once that's completely dry, I give it a nice dry brush of Necron compound, and it really pops the metal out. I'll do that for this one, even though what Games Workshop have done is they've painted the metal parts black, which is, yeah, it's a hard paint scheme to pull off. With the highlighting and things to make it still look metallic. I'm just going to paint mine in my Knightly House colour anyway, because then it will match all my Titans. Okay, let's have a look at the model itself. We'll do some size comparisons, and then we'll go through all of the rules. So the first thing you probably want to have a look at is Sir Hector. Now, this little dude, he's got his lunchbox. No, I don't know what he's got. Some kind of power coupling. I don't know, something to do with the Knight. I don't know how he's going to fit that in to the cockpit. Doesn't look like there's much room at all. But he's helmetless. He's cradling his helmet under his arm. The armour details are very nice. You've got a lot of 3D detail that goes into the crevices around there, and he's even got some parts of the armour and on the knees as well that are reminiscent with the Knight itself. So painting him up in the black and gold will look fantastic. So yeah, lovely little miniature. Great that you know, you get him with the Knight. It's the first time Games Workshop sort of have done this. He's got a really cool like little Archaeotech pistol, I think it's called. We'll go through the rules for that. It's quite nasty in a good way. So let's have a look at the Knight then. So Freedom's Hand, there's nothing really special with Freedom's Hand. It is just a Thunderstrike gauntlet. There's no extra appendages. It's not spike tipped like the Chaos Knight is. Speaking of Chaos Knights, that came off of the success of the Imperial Knights. They released one kit, which is available now. Coincidentally, that is only £5 cheaper than this kit, and you can only build 2 Knights out of it. Well, I think maybe 3 with the different options, considering they've got a Thunderstrike Gauntlet, Chainsword, and a Laser Destructor. Anyway, moving back onto this Knight. This is the first time we saw this point defense weapon, the multi-laser, on a Knight. Before we had heavy stubbers, and then with the Warden we got a melter gun, and then finally with the Catalan and variant kits we got twin melter guns, and now with this one we get a multi-laser. I've just put the multi-laser on it because it is Canis Rex, but if I was going to have this as a Preceptor, I would still have the multi-laser with the las-impulsor, so it kind of, you know, carries on with the theme of a laser based, you know, knight in a way. He does have this different like iron shield thing going on with this wolf with chains. He's nicknamed the Chain Breaker anyway, pretty good. And then this massive las-impulsor. Most of it looks exactly the same as the thermal cannon, with the exception of these large power banks, which serve to feed the las-impulsor itself, which is different. This is the new part of the ranged weapons. Quite nice. You've got a couple of firing modes for that thing. And then the final thing I want to touch on is just these little wolves you can see that are dotted about. Normally you'd have eagles, but they've got these little wolves. Nice little touch. But apart from that, it's pretty much a knight. Okay, in editing it came to my attention that I completely missed out the spare parts section, so I do apologise. That's why it's a bit disjointed and I put it in here, but at least I put it in. So there's the parts that I haven't yet sprayed and put on the model. So everything from the wolf banner, the Canis banner, which is a specific armour piece, or I suppose, and a specific knee armour piece, look, with the sword with the chains around it. Hopefully you can sort of see that. There you go. So that'll go on one of the legs, can't remember which one. And then this is the different faceplate, very knight looking, like Crusader knight looking even. Yeah, but the rest of the armour pieces are all usual. So there's your three, just here, zoom out. There's your three specific armour pieces and knight items to go on Canis, along with the iron shield, of course, and the blade with the chains, and the wolves for the ornament things, whatever they're called. Anyway, so they're the armour pieces that will go on it. I've got here the all the pieces that you'd get spare if you built it like as Canis Rex. They're all in this bag. There's a huge amount, as you can see. over £10 worth. I'd probably say £15 worth of spare parts if I guessed. So yeah, you've got all the pieces here. You've got everything from purity seals, which I didn't use. You've got the Reaper chainsword in 2 parts. There you go. So you can build one of those, have it somewhere. You've got the different gun shield plate for the Avenger Gatling Cannon and heavy flamer, and you've got the one for the rapid fire battle cannon and coaxial heavy stubber. Speaking of which, there's the canisters for the thermal cannon, which you also get right here. So what's that so far? You've got the chainsword, the thermal cannon, the rapid fire battle cannon right here. You've got the different mounting. I think this is for the Avenger Gatling Cannon though, of which you also get, so you get that mounting, and it is in these 2 parts, is it, or 3 parts? I think it's 3 parts, yeah. Yeah, here it is. It sort of goes together. Okay, sort of did it just for the camera's sake. Sort of goes together in 3 sections, and then you add this end bit on it as well. So the barrel tip to it. So there's the Avenger Gatling Cannon. So what are we running at now? 1, 2, 3, 4 different weapons. You've got the heavy stubber, you've got the melter gun, you've got the Icarus autocannons right here for the carapace, so you can make the carapace. You've got a number of shields you've got 2 extra shields, one with a frame of armour and one just completely blank. You've got the missile pod for the Iron Storm missiles and the other missiles right there. Yeah, that's an exhaust as well. You've got the mounting for the autocannons. You've got the different icons for the top of the knight. You've got different face plates. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's 5, 6. So there you go. You've got six face plates plus his one. That's 7 face plates in total. So just to give you an idea there of all of them. I think I've used them all except for these 2. Maybe if I got a gallant, I'd probably use this one, maybe. Not sure. They're quite chaos looking though. And then you've got the tubing and the heavy flamer, and you've got 1 extra banner thing. All other bits and bobs, weapon ends and more icons like that one as well. So yeah, they're all the items that you get spare, all the spare parts. Quite a lot, considerable number. And like I say, if you're good with magnets, you'll probably find a way of magnetising some of the weapons, some of the different weapon fronts, and you can easily build the carapace weapons too and have them on the knight if you want to go down the Preceptor route and have some carapace weapons. So I hope that's helped. Let's continue with the review. What I'll do now is just show you some size comparisons. So next to a Armiger Warglaive, which is the smallest knight, still piloted by a person, but very cramped spaces. It's got the thermal spear there and a Reaper chain glaive, which again was changed in the rules to have 2 weapon profiles, like a sweep attack and a more concentrated attack. Here's an Imperial knight I made earlier. This is my Knight Paladin. It's actually my 3rd knight that I built and painted. So yeah, size wise they're exactly the same between Canis Rex and this one. The one thing I do gripe about with these Imperial knights is throughout all of their 3 incarnations, they've always had the same leg pose. Now you can manipulate this a little bit by moving the top carapace to give a different change of direction, but they're always going to have this left foot forward in a wide gate pose. I would have liked to have seen them running or more modifications to their leg positions, but that changed with the advent of the Valiant, and actually with the Chaos Knights too. Speaking of the Castellan, here is one I made earlier, and as you can see, the different chassis just highlights the difference between a Dominus class chassis, which has the 2 power reactors in it, and a Questoris Knight chassis, which just has the 1. There are quite a considerable number of differences, such as there are no close combat weapons for the Castellan or Valiant. They're all ranged weapons. It's more of a mobile firing platform than anything. It's got big chunks, big holes of the armour just there where it's very susceptible to fire, in my opinion. It's got no protection for its vital cables and shoulder mounting areas, which I always think is a bit odd, whereas the Questoris has that. It's got a plethora of weapons. You've got the Volcano Lance there and the Plasma Decimator, both ridiculous weapons and are far stronger than the Questoris Knights weapons. But it is a slower weapon, more of a mobile artillery platform. It's got 3 carapace mounted weapons, and the point defence weapons are arguably better with twin melter guns. So that gives you a size comparison there between both the knights. It's important for me to say that this Castellan is £5 more. It's £100. There you can see the dual reactors. Hardly any armour on the back there. I mean, I know that the Questoris doesn't have any either, but yeah, it really shows you that it's quite vulnerable in the rear. Be interesting if we still had armour values to see what Games Workshop would put for the armour value of the rear of the Castellan. But no, we've got saves and toughness at the moment. And finally, I just wanted to show you a size comparison with an Acastus Knight Porphyrion, which is just a little bit taller than a Cerastus Knight. It's the most heavily armed and armoured of all the Knight chassis in service, and it even rivals the Scout Titans in terms of size and power. But of course, it's nowhere near as fast as those. It doesn't have the flanking capacity with the speed, and it still has the iron shield rather than any void shielding. There are pros and cons with those iron shields, but it is equipped with the twin Magna las cannons, which are horrific. You could technically be looking at 12 strength 12, damage 6 shots, so at 72-inch range nonetheless. It is quite slow though, 9-inch movement, which is slower than even the Castellan. Anyway, that was just mainly a size comparison. I went off on a rules tangent, which is always good. The final size comparison is of course with the Space Marines. I always like to do my Space Marine size comparison, and yeah, if you've got a Space Marine army or you're just thinking about getting a Knight, it's gonna dwarf your Space Marine army, which is great because you know, Knights are a good, you know, support force, support detachment. They're a great showcase centerpiece for an army. So if you've got Space Marines and you've got some tanks and things, you've got some big tanks like repulsors, they're quite good showcases. But to have, you know, one Knight, if you were going to have one Knight, this is a very good choice to go for as a showcase Knight. And then the only hard decision is sort of what weapon loadout you're going to equip it with. Anyway, that's just my example of size compared to Space Marines. Primaris doesn't even go up to the knee joint there on an Imperial Knight. So I hope that's helped. And then when your giant robot / giant walker fetish reaches a peak, you'll then start buying models like a Reaver Titan and a couple of Warlords and things like that. And then you'll discover that Knights are, yeah, quite small. Here I have one next to the Reaver Titan, and again, he is probably knee joint size. Warlord, he's below the knee. I will be doing a Titan size guide video very soon on the channel, so please do stick around for that. But I can certainly attest to the, you know, sizes that the Adeptus Titanicus go by, because if you look at the Knight there, it's about knee height. This is the exact size and scale that's replicated in the Adeptus Titanicus range. So if you have a Reaver Titan for Adeptus Titanicus and you have a little Knight, this is the size difference in, you know, 28mm scale. Okay, hope that helps. Okay, so this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for Canis Rex. I'll chip in with a couple of comparisons with the other Knights at various points. But as there are only 2 unit sections in your Imperial Knight Codex, either Lord of War or Fortification, of which there's only 1 Fortification, it's going to be quite easy to find. He's nestled just before the bigger Dominus chassis Knights, the Castellan and the Valiant. He's a power points cost of a 23, puts him in the same power points cost as a Knight Warden, the Preceptor and the Paladin. Only the Errant and the Gallant are cheaper, but the Crusader is the most costly Questoris. The Castellan and the Valiants are both power points cost of 30. Points wise, he will cost you 450 points compared to a Knight Preceptor. That's a little bit more expensive with its standard loadout of a Reaper Chainsword. That would put it at 415 points, so it is 35 points more expensive. Even with the Thunderstrike Gauntlet, a Preceptor is still only 420, and it packing a multi-laser still doesn't put it in the region of how pricey this Imperial Knight costs. It's the 3rd most expensive Knight after the Castellan and Valiant match play points wise. I mean, obviously that depends on the war gear you put on your Knights. So it's one of these models whereby the remaining wounds affects the rest of its characteristics. So it starts off with 24 wounds, and if it's got between 13 and 24, its movement is 12 inches, its weapon skill is 2+, and ballistic skill is 2+. That is incredible. Only the Knight Gallant has a weapon skill of 2+, and all of the other knights have 3+ for weapon skill and ballistic skill. Even the Preceptor has a weapon skill and ballistic skill of 3+. I would have liked to have seen the Preceptor with 2+ for both as well. That would have been amazing. But yeah, this is one of the reasons why it's so good picking him. Yes, he's quite pricey, but to have that 2+ for both weapon skill and ballistic skill and be able to use it is incredible. When his wounds drop between 7 and 12, his movement speed drops to 9 inches, and his weapon skill and ballistic skill drops to 3+. When his wounds drop to between 1 to 6, his movement speed drops all the way down to 6 inches, and his weapon skill and ballistic skill are 4+. The rest of his stat line reads: his strength is 8, his toughness is 8, he's got 24 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 9, and a save of 3+. That is exactly the same stat line as a Preceptor. Now, Sir Hector has a separate characteristic line. His movement speed is 6 inches, his weapon skill and ballistic skill are both 3+, his strength and toughness are both 3, he's got 4 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 9, and a save of 4+. That's not too bad, actually. It goes on to say, Canis Rex is a single model equipped with a las-impulsor, multi-laser, Freedom's Hand, and Titanic feet. Sir Hector begins the battle piloting Canis Rex. Only one of this unit may be included in your army, so you can only get one Canis Rex. So, weapon. We start off with the Archaeotech pistol, which is what Sir Hector has. It's a range 15 inch, pistol 1, strength 5, AP -2, and a damage of 2. That's pretty decent. It's almost like he stole it off of a Venatari Custodian. Their weapon is a bit more range of 18 inch. It's pistol 2 instead of pistol 1, and it's strength 6, but it does share the AP -2 and damage 2, which is very interesting. So it's quite a bespoke little pistol, that. The las-impulsor, which is that big range weapon on the right hand side of this knight. It's a new weapon for the knights. It's got 2 profiles. You've got low intensity, where the range is 36 inches, heavy 2d6, strength 6, AP -2, and a damage of d3, and then a high intensity, where the range drops by half to 18 inches, it's heavy d6, strength 12, AP -4, and a damage of d6. So it's up to you whether you want to go for shorter range, for more strength, more damage, more AP, but less shots, or you want to go for a further range. Let's be honest here, this knight has an effective range here of 48 inches with that low intensity las-impulsor. It's not a weapon to be choked at. It's definitely up there with the other weapons, the rapid fire battle cannon and the thermal cannon and the Avenger Gatling Cannon. If you go for the paladin, you are getting that really nice strength 8 range 72 inch weapon. If you go for the Castellan, you're getting that amazing 80 inch volcano lance. I think the las-impulsor adds to the other 2 36 inch range weapons, the thermal cannon and the Avenger Gatling Cannon, which are both quite specific in terms of their usage. The thermal cannon primarily for units with high toughness, good saves, tanks, things like that, and the Avenger Gatling Cannon, again, best off for heavy infantry or hordes, really, with those 12 shots. This las-impulsor has the potential of giving you almost as many shots as the Avenger Gatling Cannon, but having a higher damage output than the thermal cannon, just at half the range, strength 12 instead of the strength 9. Then he has the multi-laser, which is a 36 inch range weapon again. It's a heavy 3, strength 6, AP 0, and a damage of 1. What more can I say? It's a multi-laser. You get 3 shots at that 36 inch range. It's good strength, but everything else is a bit under par. Freedom's Hand is his primary melee weapon. It's a strength times 2, so he's going to be hitting on a strength 16. Its AP is -4 and its damage is 2d6. Now that's one of the biggest changes it has over a normal Thunderstrike Gauntlet, which just has a straight up damage of 6. This has a potential of having damage 12, which is incredible. When attacking with this weapon, you must subtract 1 from the hit roll. Treat any damage roll less than 6 made with this weapon as 6 instead. If a vehicle or monster is slain by this weapon, pick an enemy unit within 9 inches of the bearer and roll a d6. On a 4+, that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. So that's another extra feature, is that any damage less than 6 is 6. So it's got that baseline, same damage 6 as a normal Thunderstrike Gauntlet, and unfortunately you do have to subtract 1 from the hit roll. However, he starts off with that weapon skill 2+ to begin with, so that kind of negates that a little bit. So all in all, much better weapon, potential of more damage with a baseline limit, and more chance of hitting in combat with that weapon skill 2+. And then Titanic feet, his feet just work as everybody else's feet, I guess. So abilities: Iron Shield. Canis Rex has a 5+ invulnerable save against ranged weapons, works as usual. He's got Explodes, where if he is reduced to 0 wounds, you roll a d6 before removing it from battlefield. On a 6, it explodes, and each unit within 2d6 suffers d6 mortal wounds. And then he's got a couple of two specific abilities. So Hector, if Canis Rex is reduced to 0 wounds, but does not explode, set up Sir Hector within 3 inches of it before Canis Rex is removed. He is treated as a passenger disembarking from a destroyed transport. Assuming he survives, Sir Hector then uses his own profile above and his own keywords below, and is armed with an Archaeotech pistol. This unit is not considered to have been destroyed until Sir Hector is slain. So you're still going to take him out as well. It shouldn't be too hard because he's quite squishy at toughness 3. He doesn't have an invulnerable save, he's just got a normal 4+ save, but he does have a nice sting with that Archaeotech pistol. The next ability, Chainbreaker. Roll a d6 each time a friendly Imperial model flees within 6 inches of Canis Rex. On a 6, that model does not flee. That's quite nice. That's an extra little ability. And finally, Super Heavy Walker. Canis Rex can fall back in the movement phase and still shoot and or charge in the same turn. When Canis Rex falls back, it can move over enemy infantry and swarm models, though it must end its move more than 1 inch from enemy units. In addition, Canis Rex can move and fire heavy weapons without suffering the penalty to its hit rolls. Finally, Canis Rex only gains a bonus to its save for being in cover if at least half the model is obscured. Keywords: Imperium, Imperial Knights, Questa Imperialis, Freeblade, Character Titanic, Vehicle, Questoris Class, Knight Preceptor, Canis Rex, Character Infantry, and Sir Hector. Has he got like the most amount of keywords you can possibly squeeze in there? I think he possibly has. So there you go. That's the rules part of this review. I think he's an absolutely stunning model. He's a joy to build. Apologies that the review took so long to get to you. I hope I've done him justice. It's a very long video that I've created on him with multiple size comparisons and things. Although he's a little pricey, he's definitely going to make up his points cost, both from range with that ballistic skill 2+, and in combat with the 2+. And although survivability, he's still got the same toughness and the same saves as the other Imperial Knights. He's still going to come into his own with his damage output, and the fact that Sir Hector can pop out and shoot a few people with that Archaeotech pistol is a nice little added bonus at the end if he does get destroyed. It's quite fun. Lovely model. Like I say, if you buy one of these, one of the hardest choices is what loadout you equip it with, if you're not tempted to create this you know, named character knight to begin with. What do you guys think of Canis Knight Preceptors and Imperial Knights in general? Please do put it in the comments below. The next Imperial Knight video you will be seeing on this channel will be a look at all of the Imperial Knights new releases from 2018 and my thoughts and opinions on all of them. Then there will be a final video showcasing all of my Imperial Knight collection and talking about the future of the collection and what's up next for my army. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.